Hey, First Things First listeners, before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com, reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, as well as the televised version of this show, just a click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com. Now let's start the show. First things first, who's got more on the line Sunday, Brady or Rodgers? Is there a path to Josh Allen and the Bills pulling off the upset of all upsets Sunday against the Chiefs? And our guy Nick paying the full retail price for losing his Bills bet yesterday. Good morning, everyone. And because of that right there, I will say a very happy Thursday, Jenna, Nick, Brandon, the K-Man, Kevin this morning.
What?
I'm sorry, Jenna. I can't hear you. I still have mustard in my ear. I can't hear you, so I don't know what you said, but I assume it wasn't good.
That's on you.
It wasn't.
All right, we will get to the full Pinto Ron treatment in a second. We got to start, though, with the debut of the Big Three as Kyrie made his grand return. Nets and Cavs from Cleveland. Well, let's put it this way, you asked. Said Steve Nash after the game, quote, "We've got a lot of work to do." As Nick predicted, some problems on the defensive end as the Nets couldn't stop Colin Sexton, dropping 42 as Brooklyn falls in double overtime to Cleveland. Kyrie with 37 wasn't enough, though. Take a listen.
I think any one of us would definitely take a win over all those, just great stats. Those sound incredible for a first game out for a few great teammates, just first time touching the floor. But like I said, we're not so much consumed about what we can do. We're more or less responsible for, like I said, putting these pieces together and making it work. And offensively, it clearly wasn't enough tonight. We still needed to get stops on the other end. So that's going to be the tale of our season, is how committed are we to that end of the floor.
Kyrie Irving with his glass half full. But Nick, how worrisome was this Nets loss last night?
Listen, I don't want to read too much into it. Everyone who watches the NBA knows you can't stop Colin Sexton. You can only hope to contain him. And the Nets did a pretty decent job containing him for the better part of 3.5 quarters. And then he scored 20 consecutive points. And you end up the rare blown out in overtime scenario because you allowed, 36 points in the two overtimes. Those were 5-minute quarters, 36 points in 10 minutes. Probably not great. 60 points allowed total in the fourth quarter. In the overtimes, that's really not great. But I have two numbers for you. Both of them are concerning.
Good. More numbers.
And they are almost identical. Yeah. 147. That's the number of points the Nets allowed. But 148 is the number that actually should really concern my buddy Brandon Marshall. Because Brandon Marshall is not as worried about the defense as me. So let's not even focus on the abysmal defensive performance. Let's instead focus on the 148. That's the number of minutes Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden all just played. You know why? Because the old bench mob Nets now play for other people. And you're now in a position where you're like, oh my God, we got these three stars. We got Joe Harris, who's really good. And then we have nobody. And then we're like, Chris Chiozza, should we have him play? What about, is it Bruce? Is it Brett? What's the Brown? Who is it? I think Steve Nash just met him. Does he
so
need
now
to play?
You believe in load management?
Jeff Green. Well, Brandon, so here's the thing. I don't believe in starving myself for a week. I also don't believe in eating 38 Big Macs in a day. There is something of a happy medium. And so, no, I'm not a big fan of load management, but I also think having these three guys play 50 minutes each, probably not the ideal scenario for the team in mid-February.
That may be a little much.
But I don't know. It may be a little much, but I get it. You had to keep Kyrie out there to get the defensive stops.
But on the other end, you're asking Bud to make Giannis play more than 30 minutes a game. So that's all I heard last year.
30
we want to see Giannis play more and more.
Right.
So what do you want?
Correct. Yeah, somewhere in between.
All right, listen, Nick,
somewhere
enough with the propaganda.
This porridge is too hot. This porridge is too cold. This porridge is just right, as Goldilocks taught me. So somewhere in the middle is what I would say. But go ahead.
Yeah. Story.
Nick, enough with the propaganda. The inauguration was yesterday, okay? So I got to listen to you for the next 2 months talk about defense. Every time we talk about the Nets, all I'm going to hear is defense, defense, defense. I get it. I understand. But if we're going to do this, let's start with the foundation. Let's start with the fundamentals. You played basketball, Nick. You played in high school. You actually played on a really good team. You knew when we went in that gym, the first thing that we worked on was defense. And where did that start? Communication. This is their first night playing together. We talked about this yesterday. You got to be patient. It's going to take time. Yeah, they're not the best. They're not going to be the best defensive team, but these guys know what it takes to get to the finals. Now they got to get better and sacrifice once they get into the finals against the Clippers and figure out how to get it done. But the Clippers are going to have to figure out how to keep up with an onslaught of points and threes from KD, Kyrie, and James Harden. Come on, Nick. Let's stop with this propaganda, man. You know it, man. Going into the fourth quarter last night, they were down by 9. 8 minutes and 30 seconds, they're down by 13. You saw a glimpse of how they played defense. Something on the line, they clamped down. And all of a sudden, Sexton, he just goes crazy. There's nothing you can do against him. This is the glimpse. This is a glimpse of what you're going to see from the Brooklyn Nets moving forward. When something's on the line, come mid-March, they're going to play defense just like this. We can't control Sexton having a freaking career night and just freaking efficiency.
Oh, so Brandon, I'm going to push back on that because here's what I'd be worried about. Steve Nash really looked like a rookie coach last night. And when you say there's nothing you could do about Sexton, there's something really simple you could do. You're up 3, foul Colin Sexton before he shoots. Instead, Kyrie gave him an open 3, bang, you're going into double overtime. Then he heats up. On his way to scoring 20 consecutive points, you know what Steve Nash could have done? Timeout, guys. Who's got Michael Jordan masquerading as Colin Sexton right now? Anybody? And during that timeout, you know what you could get? Jenna's favorite, a little sugar-free Gatorade. Give everybody a breather as everyone's playing 50 minutes. Because I will buy the idea that they can step up and play defense because Durant had 2 blocks in the first overtime. Kyrie had a block. I'm like, look at this, a little bit of extra effort. But there's only so much effort you can give if you're running everybody totally ragged and playing everybody all the time. And I get the idea. I don't want to be the minutes police, Nick. I think it's a kind of a lame, like, yeah, look at this. But if that's the plan to play them a lot of minutes, then go with it. But Steve Nash told Malik Andrews, don't want to play Kyrie a lot. Well, you ended up playing him 50 or 48 minutes. So I think the minutes thing is an issue. I think not fouling is an issue. And I think not calling a timeout when the game is on the line and you see somebody really pulling away and getting super hot is an issue. Steve Nash looked totally like a rookie coach last night.
All right, I got 3 quick things. First, and 2 of them are positive for the Nets. The first one is this. And this is totally sincere. They are going to have a massive advantage if they are up even just 1 point late in games, because they're the only team in the league that has 3 90% free throw shooters. I thought about that last night. Kyrie, Harden, KD, they're never going to lose a free throw battle, so that helps them. Secondly, nice thing for the Nets, Brandon, I do think if they played the Clippers in the playoffs, they could beat them because the Clippers don't really have the ability to punish them. And the NBA is making a lot of these changes that Wildes has suggested. If they end up creating like a bronze medal game for the 2 teams that lose in the conference finals to see who wins that, I think the Nets would be a huge favorite there. But
you caught that.
The third thing that isn't good for them, the third thing that is not good for them, if you watch those Colin Sexton highlights, you know what you see? Every single guy on the Nets gets some. KD gets some. Jeff Green gets some. Harden gets some. Joe Harris gets some.
Of course.
Kyrie gets some. You know why? because they ain't got a single guy who they can say go guard. So it's like, all right, you take your turn, you take your turn, you take your turn, because they don't have a single guy except for Durant who's going to be able to guard. It's going to be a problem. Listen, but you can't just beat the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Listen,
you just hope to contain
it's going to
them.
be a problem for the next 2 months for me. It's going to be a problem for the next 2 months for me until we hit mid-March and those guys start playing defense. So have your fun for the next 2 months, and when we get to the playoffs and we get to the finals, it's going to be my time to really stand on the table and talk about the Nets.
All right. And to Wild's point, Steve Nash did say afterwards he acknowledges his team's got a lot of work to do. These two teams back at it again Friday night. Big playoff weekend in the NFL coming up. Rodgers, Brady, who's got more on the line with a win? We got a split panel. Back after this. First things first.
What's up, First Thing First listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to First Things First.
All right, let's take a turn. Talk some conference championship weekend. Here we go. For Tom Brady, it's his 14th. For Aaron Rodgers, it is his 5th. And if he wins, well, it's been a minute since we've seen him in the big game. 10 years since his one and only lone Super Bowl appearance. So is Aaron Rodgers feeling any pressure to get the pack back? Why don't we just ask him?
No, I think no more pressure than usual. I think a lot of times, storylines and pressure and those kind of comments are, good stuff for you guys to write about. But I think it starts with the mentality and the focus. Obviously, I put pressure on myself to perform every single week. And I think there's a lot to be said for being able to harness that pressure and the fear of failure and focus it to, real positive. And that's something you learn over the years. But I don't feel any extra pressure going in this week.
I mean, speaking of even-keeled, have you ever seen anyone more laid back before their conference game? Nick, who's got more to gain with a win on Sunday? Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, there's no doubt about it, unquestionably. More to gain is Rodgers. Brady is at the top of the mountaintop. At the top of the mountaintop. You guys understand what I'm saying? Brady is the unquestioned, most accomplished, greatest quarterback ever. And I think right now, if you did some type of poll, who's the greatest football player ever, I don't know if Brady would get a majority, but I bet he'd get a plurality over Jerry Rice. So it's all gravy at this point. We were just talking hoops and Kevin Durant. This is who has more to gain this year by a championship, LeBron James or Kevin Durant. It's unquestionably Kevin Durant because he's still trying to pass all-time greats. That's where Rodgers is. Rodgers right now, think about the quarterbacks we discuss in line with Rodgers. Brady, he's been to 9 Super Bowls, won 6. Peyton, he went to 4, won 2. Montana went to 4, won 4. Elway went to 5, won 2. Rodgers has only been to 1. So even if they lose in the Super Bowl to the Chiefs, he gains a lot just by getting to another one. Because while he's not branded on that list of Dan Marino, greatest to never win one, he right now has been to the same number of Super Bowls as Steve Young. And Steve Young's an all-timer. But Aaron Rodgers is better than him. And Aaron Rodgers needs another Super Bowl appearance. He can't go a decade without it. And so I think there is... to me, there's a very simple question. Rodgers has more to gain than anyone remaining except for Josh Allen. I think Rodgers certainly has more to gain than Tom Brady.
I don't think it's that simple, Nick. I mean, you look at Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, man, they underachieve. They botched this dude's career, man. When you look at the all-time greats, brutal, and you look at their hands, you see multiple rings. Look at Joe Montana. Look at Tom Brady. You see multiple. This dude is 37 years old. You look down and you see one. This is it. He's not going to go to another Super Bowl, okay? So it's close, but I don't think there's much he can do to cement his legacy. His legacy is what it is. They should have had 3 or 4 Super Bowl titles in Green Bay with this guy. They didn't. To me, it's Tom Brady. And the reason why it's Tom Brady is because there's that question out there, who's the GOAT? Who was the reason why? Is it Bill Belichick or is it Tom Brady? They were together, damn near 20 years doing this. Amazing run. We'll never see this again. So now Tom Brady goes in there at 43, wins another Super Bowl. Whoo! Now, Nick, we're not talking about the greatest football player. We're talking about the greatest athlete ever, potentially, Kevin.
Yeah, so I totally agree on the Belichick thing. I think that there's 3 people that Tom Brady can separate himself from, and one of them is Bill Belichick. Because your old buddy KW is a Belichick guy. Oh, Tom Brady was the beneficiary of the #1 defense, and Tom Brady, God knows Bruce Arians lets him coach, but he didn't call for Malcolm Butler to intercept the ball at the goal line. That was old Bill Belichick. So I feel like I've always been a Belichick guy, but if he gets to the Super Bowl, he doesn't even need to win, Nick. If he gets to the Super Bowl, it's harder for me to make that argument. The other one, near and dear to your heart, from the city with the most fountains in all of North America, Kansas City, Joe Montana. Joe Montana, 49er, goes to Kansas City. Do we really talk about that much? Not really. He went to the AFC Championship, didn't win. If he went to the Super Bowl, I feel like we would remember his Kansas City time totally differently. Last one, another legend, one place, goes somewhere else, has good stats. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan averaged 21 points. Everybody think he stunk. Well, the Wizards stunk. They didn't make the playoffs. He certainly didn't go to the finals. So if Tom Brady can get to the Super Bowl, it doesn't mean to win. I think it's less, Nick, of a GOAT mountain and more like a GOAT sort of like race. That I feel like the race would get wider and wider. Because I buy that he's on the top of GOAT Mountain. But in the GOAT 4x100, I think that he would have a considerable
he could have a Secretariat-style lead. I get it. No, I understand that. So maybe I'm overstating understating how much Brady has to gain. But I feel like, Brandon, you're dismissing Rodgers because I agree with you. Up to this point, we can say they've squandered his last few years. But if they win the Super Bowl this year, they go into next year as one of the 2 or 3 biggest favorites. That's true. Then all of a sudden you're like, well, if at 37 he wins it, and 38 say he gets to another one, now we're talking about his chance. Could he have 3 rings? So, like, as soon as if the Packers win this game, and then by some miracle they're able to beat the Chiefs, and Rodgers sitting there with 2 rings, there's no Rodgers Favre discussion anymore. There's no Rodgers Breeze discussion anymore, and what starts is a Rodgers Peyton Manning discussion. Like if he wins another one.
But is that even a discussion though, really?
He moves up to.
But is that a discussion now? Rodgers Favre, Rodgers Breeze, is that even a discussion now? Yeah, we know what Breeze has done in his career, throwing the ball all over the field, breaking so many records. But Aaron Rodgers, man, just a couple years ago we were saying he can go down as the greatest quarterback ever. And then all of a sudden you insert Patrick Mahomes, and now we're talking about Patrick Mahomes every single week on these shows.
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers, man, he is already cemented. We already know his place in history. Another Super Bowl is not going to change that. Making the Super Bowl for a 3rd time and losing it is not going to change that. This dude should be sitting here with 4 rings. You got Tom Brady with 6 and potentially a 7th one. This is not even a discussion.
I feel like, though, if this was about a divorce, Brady wins. Brady wins because for no other reason than the petty reason of he get one up on Bill Belichick. Time for Nick's NBA medals. KD, as we mentioned, I know, big cap space, big time. KD went for 38 last night. Kyrie put in 37. The Nets, though, lose in double overtime. Even worse than the loss, both those guys missed out on medals from Nick Wright. So, Nick, bars high. Who made the medal stand?
Apologies to the make it, take it Nets. You can't make the medal stand. You lose to the Cavs. So we will go to the bronze medalist, Clint Capella. The first 25-5-5 game since young Shaquille O'Neal. Clint Capella against a team that seemingly has nothing but centers, the Detroit Pistons. He goes in and says, I'm the best center in this game. Sorry, Trae Young, you got snubbed because Capella gets your bronze medal. Silver medalist. Hey, look out now. Colin Sexton. 20 straight points, 42 points. The Cleveland Cavaliers have a fun nickname, Sexland, because of Colin Sexton and Darius Garland. Guess what? Darius Garland's not there. Colin Sexton says, I'll take care of it myself. So, Nick, why doesn't he get a gold? He scored 42. He scored 20 in a row. Well, you got to adjust negatively on a curve because he was playing the Nets. So 42 against the Nets is like 34 against a regular team. Gold medalist. Oh, don't look now. Could he be your MVP favorite? Joel Embiid, man on a mission. Ben Simmons still in his feelings because my guy Daryl Morey maybe allegedly possibly tried to trade him. Joel Embiid says, don't worry about that. We got some unfinished business against these Celtics. I'll give you 42-10 in a big win for the #1 team in the Eastern Conference, the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid gets his gold medal. Brandon Marshall, who you calling? Kyrie? Kyrie just let someone score again. He can't take the call.
No, KD.
He's not available.
KD. No. Kyrie, give KD the phone. Kyrie, I don't want to. Give me.
Oh, they're together.
KD. Hey, I just want to let you know that moving forward, we'll be the only teams that won't be eligible for a medal if we lose. Yeah, Nick Wright just totally changed the criteria. He
Only
totally
if you lose to the Cavs.
Goalpost is moving.
No, I just.
Yep.
No.
Tell James Harden I said hello. All right, see you guys in the final.
The joke's on us because he's probably actually talking to him right now. Wilds, though, that's who made it. Tell us who missed it.
Oh, Jaylen Brown scores on Ben Simmons. Guess what he says to Ben Simmons, who's almost 7 feet tall? You're too small. Tier alert. Jaylen Brown scoring 26 points a game, averaging 26, also scored 26, so it's a nice air. Scoring more than Anthony Davis, more than Kawhi, more than James Harden for the time being, since he's putting up those duds in Houston, more than Trae Young, he is a pure scorer. So start not only the Jaylen Brown All-Star alert, move him up the tiers, Nick. I don't know when you're getting the tier committee
I'm glad
together,
you mentioned
but
the
Jaylen
tiers.
Brown
Remember,
skyrocketing up here.
Wednesday, January 27th, 8 a.m. Eastern. That's when the new tiers get released.
What?
Remember, I told you guys that about a week ago. We've been working on it.
He's got to wait down.
Yeah.
Nick, take
Can
a
I
deep
join that
breath.
committee?
Patrick Mahomes back at practice. Got some AFC Championship talk on the other side. First,
Get on that
things first.
Nick Wright tier committee.
Yeah, I'll send you the application form, Brian.
Hey, First Things First listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to First Things First.
So, all right, Bills Mafia. I looked everywhere for a Josh Allen jersey. I couldn't find one. I had to make a Josh Allen shirt. Just show the video. Just run the video.
All right, let's get this over with.
So dumb.
Ladies, go ahead. Go. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, oh my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Is it over? There's more?
You know, it actually...
Oh, God.
It actually matches his outfit.
Why aren't you holding the hot dog where it can get the condiment on it?
All right, I'm enjoying this.
Wait, watch and wait.
All right.
Wow, this is for a radio audience. This is... he appears to be somewhere in New York in an alley. And a hot
Wipe the
dog
hot
and
dog on my
mustard
face.
and ketchup.
We're done.
We're done. Well, you know what? That's your...
I gave him 2 angles, Colin. I still have mustard in my ear. I gave him 2 angles on it. I bought that stupid Bills hat. I made that jersey that says Bills 17.
I will tell you guys, I watched this. I made sure I was sitting down to watch this, and I appreciated it, and it made me happy. You regret it now? Do you regret having done this now, Nick? You were all in on it.
Well, listen, I lost the bet. A man pays his debts. Hold on, Wilds. Wilds was really convinced that this would be bad for my career long term. Now that it's done and you've seen it, Wilds, what's your take?
Well, I'm less concerned about your career than all of our careers. I think it's bad for us to be associated with it.
Because of us.
Never mind, Colin made an excellent point that you're on a radio show doing a visual bit. So it's just...
Hey,
I thought it was terrible.
Wow.
No
for
more.
the rest of our career, they're going to be like, you guys are on the show with that guy?
Yeah.
You know, for the rest of our careers, you're on the show with that guy?
Do you know how badly I am this close to committing to do this again if the Bills beat the Chiefs, but you don't want to do a bit twice? But I'll think of something for if the Bills beat the Chiefs that's even worse than this, because that ain't happening. Listen, Bills fans, I'm happy for you. Best moment for your franchise in 27 years.
Tables
I'm in on that.
All right, let's play a little drawing a blank while we think about what Nick could do to further bruise his pride. Some good news for Patrick Mahomes Wednesday. Andy Reid said he took all the snaps in practice, feels really good, which means the chances of him playing Sunday also appear to be really good. So, Brandon, Mahomes' practice report should have Chiefs fans feeling blank.
Ooh, cautiously optimistic. I'm glad he's back. This is great for the game. This is great for football. This is great for Buffalo. You don't want it any other way. But, Nick, you know what teams got to do every time they face your boys? They got to say, do we want to stop the pass game and let them beat us on the run? Or do we just get after him and let him throw it all over the field and just try to get pressure? What the Bills did last time, they said, you're not going to pass on us. You have to run. I don't know where Clyde Edwards-Helaire is, but I do know what's going on with his foot and that toe. And every time you watch these guys, you'll see it 2 or 3 times a game where Patrick Mahomes, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10, he gets out of the pocket and he runs, he escapes, and he continues the drive. He pushes it forward. So Nick, this is a big deal because this guy in the running game, we don't talk about it enough. He has won some games on some critical 3rd downs on the ground.
That's all true. But in order to get in critical 3rd downs, you have to actually force some 3rd downs. And I don't think the Bills can.
Oh.
So how should we be feeling? Arrogant. Guess what? You know what doesn't happen? The Chiefs don't lose in the playoffs with Patrick Mahomes. They have once. It was a bad call. There was another bad call. There was an overtime coin toss. That's it. Other than that, we just beat everybody. And you know what certainly doesn't happen? Josh Allen coming into Arrowhead and matching points with Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if he's got a banged up toe. I don't care if they have to Ronnie Lott the big toe. You can't walk without a big toe.
No,
this man probably can.
Nope.
You know what? Guess what? Oh, no, you need balance, equilibrium. Miss me with all that. So I know the audience thinks that I am at times over the top arrogant. Oh, wait till you meet the Nick Wright over the next 96 hours. You've seen nothing yet.
I hope so.
Because the Chiefs are going to annihilate the Bills on Sunday.
Good.
And all these Josh Allen takes are going to look so dumb come the light of day. Go ahead, Wilds. Arrogance
I'm
the
glad
answer.
that the mustard and ketchup has not affected your arrogance, because this is the Nick Wright I want. The Nick Wright covered in condiments is not the guy that I've grown to love over the last few months.
Right.
In any event. Speaking of Kansas City and keeping your promise like Nick Wright did, you know what I was promised? A behind-the-back pass. This is a video that was released in July. Maybe he's going to do it this year. Well, I don't know. We got 2 games left in the season, maybe 1. Am I going to see this play or not? Because now's the time. Speaking of your toe, you can't scramble out. You got to go into the new bag of tricks. How about this one? It's been sitting there, and I haven't seen it yet. I'm stuck looking at this video, which was shot vertically. Everyone, go this way. We're going to use this on TV. Next
That was my line. Yes, I was going to say that. It's great. On to the latest on Deshaun Watson now. Niners star Richard Sherman threw his 2 cents in because it was inexpensive, saying Watson should find a way to get to the Jets, pair him with Jets' new head coach and Sherman's now former defensive coordinator Robert Saleh. So, Brandon, Richard Sherman suggesting Deshaun Watson go to the Jets. Your team is blank.
Voracious. Come on, man. This dude's speaking the truth. Look, I said it at the beginning and everybody laughed at me. I said this is the best landing spot for him. They keep talking about, oh, the New York Jets. It's a circus. They don't know what they're doing. Buddy, I was there for 2 years. Also played on 6 teams. I'm telling you, this is a good organization. The only thing we're missing is you. You're coming to the biggest media market in the world, and you have everything you need. Salary cap. We're gonna have you at the table then. How you want to spend the money, Deshaun? Do you want a tackle? Do you want a guard? Do you want a DB? Come on, buddy. Okay. You can make all the key decisions you want. Voracious.
It's a great answer, but I think this is more about Richard Sherman. It's more than meets the eye. This is Richard Sherman sending a smoke signal to John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan saying, hey, guys, if he'd be good with the Jets, you know where he'd be great? With our team. With the team I play for, the San Francisco 49ers. But he can't say that because he's got to be a good teammate. So let me just talk about how great this player is so maybe my team will get him. The hell does Richard Sherman care about the Jets? He doesn't. So it's more than meets the eye. This is actually about Jimmy Garoppolo and the fact that the Niners should go after him.
Wow,
Richard Sherman
is going to go to the Jets. I thought that was very crafty.
He's out of there.
Okay, here's what I'm saying. Good karma. Remember when the Jets won a game and all the Jets fans were like, oh, I can't believe we won. We wanted to roll around in the wretched stink of 0-16 like a little pig pen, covered in mud. Well, you won a few games, and guess what? Deshaun Watson's like, wow, you guys aren't 0-16. And all of a sudden, Brandon Marshall says you're actually pretty good. So here's what you do. You take all your draft capital, you call up Nick Caserio, you call up the chaplain, and you say, here you go. You can have it all. Deshaun Watson can come with Brandon Marshall, who is also, bury the lead here, unretiring to play with Deshaun Watson. So congratulations, Deshaun and Brandon, future Jets.
We don't even put Deshaun in a uniform in that graphic. We just stick him in the old welcome to New York. On to Baltimore. Earmuffs if you're a big fan of passing yards. Ravens finished dead last in the NFL in passing for the first time since 2003. But Coach John Harbaugh strong in his defense of the Ravens' run-first approach. Take a listen to this.
And the reason I'm strong on this is because it goes back to the same criticism that we've heard for the last 3 years about not being the type of an offense or the type of a quarterback that some people want to see. And that's just, they're just going to have to live with it because Lamar Jackson's won a lot of football games here. And our offense has won us a lot of football games here. And we're not apologizing that for 1 second.
Hey, Brandon, John Harbaugh defending the Ravens' run-heavy offense is blank.
Oh, my goodness. Jenna, this is idiotic. This is idiotic. How many more games will he win when he's on the sideline? I'm giving you, if you continue with this John Harbaugh, I give you guys 3 to 4 more years, right? We just saw Mahomes go out concussed by just getting roped around the neck and just going down. It wasn't even a hard hit. So what do you think is going to happen with this guy asking him to run 15 times a game the way he does? You got quarterback powers. You got quarterback sweeps. You got options. Come on, John Harbaugh. Really? What's the goal here? Do you want this guy to be the face of the franchise for 10 more years or for 4 more years? You have to make a decision now. If I am Lamar Jackson, I'm going upstairs and saying, Coach, you got to retract that. We can't do that. I get it. I know who I am on the ground, but I got to develop as a passer. There's some things I got to do, but also Greg Roman. There's some things he got to do too. Let's go back to Greg Roman with Colin Kaepernick. What happened? It's the same trend every year. Yards per pass and passer rating. 2012, 2013, 2014, the league catches up to you. They know what you're doing. This is what's going to happen and continue to happen in Baltimore. This is idiotic, Nick, and it's concerning.
So, and I've been making this point for the better part of a year. It's become quite a popular point. I've heard some other people make it as well, not always with attribution, but they're the Bucks of the NFL. And they're turning Lamar into Giannis, an unguardable, unstoppable regular season performer with major holes in the postseason. And if you had Mike Budenholzer after last year's Bucks flameout, be like, hey, we win 65 games every year. We have the #1 point differential. Why would we change anything? You can't do that. You've got to be willing to adapt and adjust because you don't right now want to be the Bucks of the NFL. And as great as Giannis is, Lamar doesn't want to currently be the Giannis of the NFL Wilds.
It's a great call. I'm going with unappetizing. He was also asked about like wide receivers or trying to get new talent in there. He's like, well, I'm not a college coach. That's my brother. He didn't say that. I said that. He's like, I don't have to go recruit. If you want to come here, you can win games. Like, all right, well, Chris Godwin's going to be a free agent. Do you think he's going to be like, where should I go?
Hold on,
oh,
what?
I know. The team that will never throw me the ball. So I think they're going to have to either build through the draft with wide receivers. And even then, I'd be like, oh, good. I'm a wide receiver.
Hold on.
I got a Ravens jersey. I guess, go ahead, Brandon. I'm holding my invisible jersey.
What did he say?
Go ahead.
Nick, what did he say, Wiles? He said, I'm not going to recruit guys? Wiles, did he say I'm not going to recruit guys? That's what he said?
Well, let me get it exact if you're
Oh, my goodness.
I want to get it verbatim. I'll get it verbatim for you, but that was the gist of it. I believe I don't have to recruit. Was the quote. But
maybe you should bring Jim in.
You know me, I'm a stickler for accuracy, so we can pull it later.
All right, well, the team that just beat the Ravens,
goodness.
the Bills, gets set to play the Chiefs on Sunday. We've crunched the numbers, and we've come up with a way that the Bills can pull off the upset. Beep, boom, boom, beep, boom, boom, boom. That's me crunching the numbers. Brace yourself, Nick. We're back after this.
Good crunching, Jenna.
Welcome back. We're talking some AFC Championship now, and how about this for a little thing I like to call offense? 4 of the NFL's top 6 scoring teams are in action this weekend, and nobody but Pinto Ron would have predicted the Bills would average more points than the Chiefs, but here we are, and here we have Josh Allen saying nothing changes for his unit on Sunday. He said, quote, this is a big one, to win the game, you've got to score more than them.
That's right, baby.
Thank you, Josh. Coach Mangini. AFC champion multiple times over. Good morning. Good to see you. Let's ask you, what offensive approach gives the Bills the best chance to pull off the upset of upsets over the Chiefs and thus upset Nick?
Well, with that sage wisdom from Josh Allen, but what he means is that obviously as explosive as they are, you've got to figure out a way to try to match their points. But that can be a very dangerous approach. And I've been in situations like that where you're playing teams that have scored record number of points. I remember the greatest show on turf in the Super Bowl, our first Super Bowl. We could have easily gone into that and said we're going to chase points, but we didn't. And these games unfold in strange ways. And oftentimes when you're chasing points, you take chances that, may or may not work out. And then you give these explosive offenses extra opportunities with the ball. And you also put pressure on the offense to do things that can be a little bit out of character. So I don't think that's the way they want to go. And they realize that, or I'm sure Brian Daboll realizes that. The most important thing they can do is try to slow things down for Josh, to try to make it as comfortable as possible for him, especially early. KC's going to pressure. There's going to be multiple looks in the way that they pressure and incorporating some screens.
Like Nick agrees.
The running game, quarterback-driven runs, easy completions, maybe vary the running game so it's some wide receiver sweeps, things like that. Maybe incorporate a little bit of what looks like hurry up, but really isn't hurry up. You give that impression, but you're really using the whole clock. Got to push those guys and make Kansas City feel uncomfortable, off balance, and don't chase their offense, because then you can make mistakes and you don't want to be in that spot.
Coach. I don't know if you've been watching sports television the last few months, but this whole question is being asked backwards. Jenna's acting like the Bills are some massive underdog. They're 3-point underdogs. You're acting like the Bills have to be worried about the Chiefs' offense. No. Don't. Aren't you aware? Josh Allen's the MVP candidate, not Patrick Mahomes. Stephon Diggs is the best wide receiver in the AFC, not Tyreek Hill.
He is good.
Cole Beasley is the great slot option, not Travis Kelce. The Bills have the best offensive line, not the Chiefs. The Bills have the most dynamic offense. Wiles been telling me they won 12 in a row. If you remove the loss, it's a fun thing. You remove the loss, and they've never lost a game. So no. Buffalo, sling it, baby. And by the way, in defense of that strategy, this whole let's everyone strategy for 3 years One team has successfully done it. The Colts, midway through last year when Mahomes was hurt and Tyreek Hill didn't play. Mahomes has only lost 9 times since Texas Tech. Show those losses if we could quickly. They all have something in common except for the Colts loss. You know how you beat them? Go score 35. People aren't beating this team 21-14. So listen, Josh, you're the MVP. You're the best young quarterback. You have the best offense. You have the most dynamic offensive coordinator. Forget Bieniemy and Reed. It's all Daboll and McDermott. Forget Mahomes and Hill. It's Allen and Diggs. So Brandon, this is their chance. Go sling it around the field, beat them the way the Rams did, 54-51, because that's the path. And guess what, Bills? You've got the guy to do it. You've got the league MVP, I was told. So go to Arrowhead and go score 40, because that's what you're going to have to do.
Nick, Patrick, I love you guys, but y'all losing this week, buddy. I'm telling you. And
Boom.
Josh Allen basically said it, and I don't know if I agree with it, but he basically said to win the game, we got to stay the same. What does that mean? Coach, 10 personnel. You're going to see 4 wide receivers on the field, 1 running back. That's what they do. Cole Beasley, he runs the same route over and over and over again. He's in the slot, and he's running option routes. Stephon Diggs, he has the entire route tree open to him. We need Gabriel Wilson. We need Brown on the other side to come up and make big plays. Coach, I'm concerned. I am a little concerned. Brian Daboll, you fell in love with Coach Daboll in New England. You hired him as your OC in Cleveland. He ran the ball 1 time. It was 1 call run play last week. Are you not concerned that he just leans so heavy on what they do well?
Well, first of all, I'm concerned about Nick's sense of woe is me that he's got going because his Kansas City Chiefs aren't being respected enough, and Patrick Mahomes isn't being respected enough.
Nobody believes
that must
in
be
us.
so.
Yeah.
Must be so hard for you to deal with that, Nick. I'm sorry to hear that. Here's what I'll say about Brian is Brian understands complementary football. Brian understands doing whatever you need to do in a game to win that game. And there's a lot of offensive coordinators that are going to do what they do because it may help them get their next job. It may help them increase their profile. It may be what the players are clamoring for if you have a star player. But Brian's about complementary football. He's gonna incorporate a plan that works for the defense and special teams, and he learns. He learns from mistakes that he's made. I can't imagine that he would run the ball anywhere near as few times as he did last time. If anything, it's going to be a change of pace. It's going to be making Josh Allen as comfortable as possible going into the early part of the game.
Yeah, well, Coach, I hate to drag you into this, and if we can put everybody on screen, I have to air out some dirty laundry of something weird that's going on with our researcher, Dusty. And I like Dusty, and I thought he did a good job for like most of the year. But I think, guys, he's really fallen off because he's been making a ton of mistakes. He said there's 4 teams left. The top 4 scoring offenses are in this order: Green Bay, Buffalo, Tampa, and then Kansas City. So hold on, they have the worst offense of everyone playing this weekend? That's not right. Yeah. What are we doing with this? Why is he still on the staff? He said that the Kansas City Chiefs only scored 22 points against the Browns. Dusty, they only scored 17 points against the Falcons. These are just errors that Dusty can't make. Right. And then he said they scored 22 points against the Broncos. I'm like, Dusty, Katanic, we have to do something about this guy because this has got to be fake information because they score 50 points a game and they're unstoppable.
It's Wild. I'll address all that. First of all, you only had one semi-factor there. I guess you're talking about the Broncos game, the second one, because the first one I think they scored is 40-something. We can check. They played twice.
Yeah, no, the more recent
Falcons game that you keep the Falcons game that you keep hanging your hat on is when the Chiefs already had the 1 seed locked up. In the Browns game, they lost their quarterback to injury early in the 3rd quarter. But I agree with you, which is why are we talking about getting Aaron Rodgers into a rhythm, making sure he's comfortable? No, because he's awesome. So Josh Allen, You're the MVP. That's what I've been told. The odds say you are the second most likely to win MVP behind only Aaron Rodgers. Mahomes is the, best I can tell, the worst quarterback remaining. You have Rodgers, the MVP, Allen, the second MVP, the GOAT, Brady, and Mahomes. With that crummy offense, I mean, they're 25-1 his last 26 starts, but does that really count? So no, the Chiefs need to worry about keeping up with the Bills. It's definitely true, and that should be the Bills' approach. I agree with you, Wilds.
All right.
It's smart. You don't sound ridiculous at all.
We obviously all need to recompose, reshuffle, recollect, and then get back to business. On the other side, our top story, Kyrie, KD, James Harden, all in action, all at the same time. So why'd they lose to the Cavs? We'll explain next. First things first. Oh, I can't wait. The NFL playoffs continue Sunday. The NFC Championship presented by TurboTax Live. Tom Brady and the Bucs, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Pre-game coverage, 1 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Let's go. As B. Marsh says, time now for Stores to Start Your Morning, sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. We're talking AFC Championship right now. And how about this for a little thing I like to call offense? 4 of the NFL's top 6 scoring teams still alive playing this weekend. No one but Pinto Ron would have predicted the Buffalo Bills would average more points than the Kansas City Chiefs. But here we are, and Josh Allen says nothing changes for his unit on Sunday. He said, quote, to win the game, you've got to score more than them. That is absolutely right, Josh. So, Brandon, what offensive approach gives the Bills the best chance to pull off this upset against KC?
Nick, Jenna, look, I got the Bills and the Bucks in the Super Bowl. Nick, you have the Chiefs in the pack in the Super Bowl.
And the Packers.
And I think the best way to get there, just as a player, old-timer, retired wide receiver, is to run the ball. That's what I believe that the Bills should do. But Jenna, that's not what they do. That's not what they do. That's not who they are. They're going to continue to be this team that spreads everybody out, go 10 personnel, 4 wide receivers on the field, and run 1 running back. This is what Brian Daboll has done every single week. He sprinkles in the run game, but that's not what they do. So when you think about Josh Allen and his progression and his maturation, it's really just been through the passing game and dropbacks. They don't have a lot of play action. They don't do that. Last week, they ran the ball 1 time in the first half. I expect them to do more. I expect Josh Allen to carry most of the load on the ground. It makes me nervous, but I have to believe in Coach Daboll. He is calling plays, creating plays, drawing them up, at an all-time high level. This offense is super efficient, but I'm concerned that they're not running the ball. But then you just got to sit back as a player and say, you know what? Coaches coach and players play, Nick.
Listen, this is all set up perfectly for the Buffalo Bills. Because everyone says, here's how you beat the Chiefs. Run the ball, time of possession, keep Mahomes off the field. Mahomes been in the league more than 3 years at this point. 1 team has accomplished it that way, beat the Chiefs that way. The Colts early last year in a game where Mahomes had a sprained ankle and Tyreek Hill didn't play. Mahomes, believe it or not, has only lost 9 times in his entire career. Show those losses if we could. What do 8 of those 9 have in common? You know how you beat the Chiefs? Score 35 and hang on for dear life. You don't beat them 20-17. You beat them 37-35. So, Wilds, I say all that to say this.
Yeah, buddy.
This is perfect for the Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia, or as I'm learning lately, Bills Small Corner Crime Gang.
Crime syndicate.
Like, it's not really a mafia. It's like a small group of people. They're just loud. Syndicate, again, it implies it's large. It's a very small group of loud, angry people. So here's the deal. Listen, all year long, you know what you've said? Josh Allen's the MVP candidate in the AFC, not Patrick Mahomes. Stephon Diggs is the best wide receiver in the AFC, not Tyreek Hill. Brian Daboll's the best offensive coordinator in the AFC, not Eric Bieniemy. You have the best offensive line. You have the best number 2 option in the league, all-pro Cole Beasley. So it plays right into your hands. This is just what you want. go up against the Chiefs and go score for score. That's the game plan.
Yeah.
You got the quarterback with the best arm in this game. You've got the healthier quarterback. You've got the more dynamic offense. So go hang 40 and win the game and get to the Super Bowl. Absolutely, right? That's what the Bills should do because clearly that's what they're built to do.
Here's what else I kept hearing. Oh, the Chiefs, how are you going to slow the Chiefs down? You're going to have to score 100 points. It's got to be like a basketball game. You got to go for every 4th and 1. You might have to go, if it's 4th and 10, you still should go for it. You got to keep them off the field. But then our researcher, Dusty's like, oh no, contraire, mon frere. When you actually look at the stats, there's 4 teams playing this weekend. Which team is statistically, Nicholas, the lowest scoring team? Would you believe it's your friends from the old fountain capital of North America, the Kansas City Chiefs? Oh, it's Green Bay 1, Buffalo 2, Tampa 3, Kansas City 4. But our question, what offensive rules will give the Bills the best chance? Well, shouldn't be the Chiefs the best chance? Because they have the inferior offense. And then also, you got to score 50 points, Brandon. You got to put up, Michael Jordan type numbers here. Are you sure? They scored 22 on the Browns. Mahomes is hurt. Mahomes is hurt. I'm like, okay. Well, they were on track for 40 points. They put 17 points on those mighty Falcons defense, 17 points. And then in December, at a game that mattered, they put 22 on the Broncos. 22. So I don't think they need to score 50 points. Can they score 3 touchdowns, maybe a field goal, maybe 3 touchdowns, get yourself a safety, 3 touchdowns, maybe get a 2-point conversion? That wins the game. Your bark is louder than your bite. I might be wrong. Maybe the stats are wrong.
I agree.
Oh,
Wilds. That's all. No, it's all right. I agree. It's why the Chiefs. I think I'm the only person that believes in them. It would be a massive upset. Do you know how good Josh Allen is? Do you know how good Stephon Diggs is? Brian Daboll has his choice of head coaching job.
You just got mustard and ketchup thrown in your entire face, and you're still.
I agree.
You just got ketchup and mustard.
And the Chiefs' offense. The last time the Chiefs' offense looked good, they were, I think, winning the Super Bowl or something. But who cares? No, that's right. It's the Bills' game to lose. Right, Brandon? That's where we're at.
One thing.
They have the quarterback playing better, the offense playing better, they're healthier.
We respect you guys. Man, it's going to come down to one thing, that defensive line. If that defensive line stand up and they stop that run, it's lights out for the Chiefs.
Yeah, all right, let's finish up with a quick little take your pick. Nick paid the full retail price for losing his Bills bet with Colin. Little this, little ketchup, little mustard, few condiments. Nick, which would be more embarrassing, the Pinto Ron treatment or losing to Josh Allen on Sunday?
Oh, there's no shame. Guys, there's no shame in losing a game you're supposed to lose. Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the conference.
You're going to ride that out.
In the conference. Brandon's picking them. They're the best team. Like, this was embarrassing.
Pretty good.
Losing to future first ballot Hall of Famer, most talented quarterback ever, Josh Allen.
Make a bet. What's the bet? He's going to go through a table.
Yeah, I'll go through a table if I lose, just as penalty. But no, obviously. I mean, the Bills should win, guys.
Undisputed.
No, you're not going
starts
through a
right
table.
now. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.